Leave a like and I'll actually give you nothing, dude. No joke. Nah, but what's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new story. And imagine you're just sitting there on a nice sunny day, having such a nice time, when this Karen appears out of nowhere, demands to speak to the manager, and says that she's gonna place you under citizen's arrest, and then sly tackles you like she plays for the freaking Giants. Yeah, so this happened to a subscriber, and I'll be telling that story, so sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, and let's just jump right into the story. So we're going to call the subscriber who submitted the story Andrew. So anyways, right, Andrew's at the park with his little brother. Every single Saturday, he goes to the park with his little brother. It's just like a nice activity they have, because Andrew is significantly older. His little brother's like, I don't know, dude, he's like 8 or something, and Andrew is like a senior in high school. So yeah, and also this is going to be the last year that Andrew's at home because he's going away for college pretty soon. So he's honestly just trying to spend as much time with his little brother as possible. So anyways, this is a normal Saturday, and he was just kind of chilling in the park. And there's a lot of fun things to do in the park, like there's, I don't know, there's slides, there's the outside world, there's grass that can be touched, wink, wink, nod, nod to a lot of you guys. I'm just kidding. Love you guys. Don't unsubscribe. But yeah, this day was a little bit different, though, because there was a Karen in the park. So the first time that Andrew actually saw this Karen, she was just, she was standing at the other side, and she had like she had the big aviator sunglasses on. She had the quintessential Karen cut. You already know what I'm talking about. It's like when the hair is cut really short on one side and flopped all the way over on the other, like the Karen I showed on the screen earlier in the video. Yeah, she had the quintessential Karen cut. She had the big glasses. She had like this like really weird shirt that didn't fit that well. And she was like full of anger and assault and tilt, and she was just not having it. She was like on the other side, her hands were on her hips, and she was scanning the park. Like she was looking around. Basically, dude, she was scanning the park for trouble because she was bored, you know? She wanted to just mess with some people, and mess with some people she was about to. So Andrew looks over, and the Karen is staring right at him. And he's like, no, 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 no. Like, come on, ma'am. Like, come on now. And the Karen starts walking over very angrily. Like, her fists are balled, and she's like, bum, 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 bum. Just kind of like starting to walk over, right? And Andrew's just looking at her like, dude, you can't be serious, bro. Like, you cannot be serious right now. And she comes over, and she looks at them. And right now, it's just Andrew and his little brother. Just like, his little brother is just like blissfully, unawarely, just like, I don't know, doing his thing. And Andrew just like looks up, and she says, excuse me. And Andrew's like, yay, like, yeah, what's up? And she's like, this is a private park, and I demand you guys go. And the thing is, right, Andrew knows for a fact that this is just massive cap right now because, dude, he's been going to this park since he was a little kid, since he was like his little brother's age. And yeah, this was very clearly a public park. And he just responds calmly, like, ma'am, I think you have this confused with somewhere else. This is pretty clearly a public park. I've been going here for a while. Like, you can even look it up. It's listed as a public park. And she's like, this is a private park, and if you don't get out of here in 3 seconds, I'm calling up the manager. And Andrew looks at her, and he's just like, dude, what are you talking about? What do you mean the manager, bro? We're at a public park. The manager of the parks department? Are we calling up Leslie Knope? Like, what's going on right now? And she's like, 3, 2... Dude, for some reason, some people just think if they start counting down that you're going to do what they say. Give me $1 million. 3, 2... Subscribe to this channel with notifications on. 3, 2... But anyways, right, so the countdown goes down, and Karen's like, that's it. You guys are so doomed. And she, like, walks over, and there was, like a park police dude or a park ranger or whatever who happened to be, kind of, passing by, and the Karen must have seen him. So he walks up to the park ranger and says, like, arrest these 2 hooligans immediately, and points at, Andrew, who's just, like, sitting there, and his little brother, who's playing in a sandbox right now. And the park ranger's like, ma'am, like, what is the reason that you want me to, like, go over there? And she says, they are in the park, and I don't want that. As a taxpayer, this is my private park. So basically, that Karen had construed that since she pays taxes, that, the taxes pay for this park, and therefore, this park is hers, therefore, it is her private park, which is just the most ridiculous logic I've ever heard in a million years. But hey, man, I mean, we are talking about a Karen right now, so if you thought that she was going to have normal people logic, then, like, I don't know, bro, you must live in a different planet, too. But anyways, right, the park ranger says yes, but they probably pay taxes too, and either way, this park is open to everyone. Like all of your tax dollars pay to have this park available for everyone. This isn't your private park. And that's when the Karen goes over, looks at the ranger and says, "I demand to speak to your manager to sort this nonsense out." And the park ranger looks at her and says, "I'm actually the chief ranger here, or whatever the highest ranking ranger here is. I am my manager. If you'd like to speak to me, I'm all ears." And the Karen just kind of looks at him and gives him this look. It is like, fine. So the Karen, at this point, Andrew's like, all right, word. The Karen's not going to mess with us anymore. We're chilling. Hopefully she doesn't come back here and do this every week or something. But unfortunately, Andrew was completely wrong, because the Karen, as she's storming away from the park ranger, starts storming towards Andrew and his little brother. And he's like, oh my God, what's going on now, bro? What are we doing now, bro? And she comes over and she's like, you know what? You're disrespecting your elders by not leaving right now. So at this point, right, the Karen at first says, get out of here. This is my private park. I demand you to do so. 3, 2, 1, get out of here. Now she's saying, because you don't leave when I demanded you to, over a lie, right, that you're disrespecting your elders. And at this point, Andrew's like, ma'am, I'm sorry, we're not leaving the park. This is the time I spend with my little brother. He likes it here. Just because I'm not doing what you're saying doesn't mean I'm disrespecting you. There's a big difference. And the Karen's like, you think this is the last of it? Well, you're wrong. And the Karen basically disappears into the void, in a sense. I mean, not actually, but she kind of disappears back into the woods, the park, whatever. She leaves, but she doesn't exactly leave. Andrew thought that she was good and gone, but that is not the case. So anyways, later that day, Andrew's little brother has a birthday party to go to. So about after half an hour later, chilling in the park, Andrew finds the little brother. He's like, hey man, we got to go to your friend's birthday party. And obviously Andrew's little brother is really excited for all this. So, they get up and they walk to the car. So Andrew gets in the car and he starts, he puts his keys in, he starts the car. And he looks behind him, right? Because you have to look when you're backing out. You don't want to back into someone. That would be big bad. And he sees someone sitting in a car. And it's this weird minivan type thing. Nothing wrong with minivans. They're actually nice cars, right? But it's this minivan with a bunch of weird stickers on it. And there's a woman sitting in the car. And she was looking at them. And Andrew was like, that looks like the woman from the park. But it can't be, because she's been gone for an hour at this point. No way that's the same Karen from the park earlier. Right? Yeah, so anyways, he pulls out and he starts driving, because he's driving over to his little brother's friend's house, which is 20 minutes away or something. So not too bad. And that's when he looks in his rearview mirror after driving for 5 minutes, and the same car that was in the parking lot with the person who looked just like the Karen is right behind him. So at this point, Andrew's like, well, maybe this is just a coincidence. This is a little weird, but no way the Karen's actually following me. That would actually be psychopathic. There's not a shot she's actually doing that. So Andrew just keeps driving, right? And driving, and they're about to pull into the neighborhood of the little brother's friend, right? And guess what? The Karen, or what looks like the Karen, is still driving behind him. So in Andrew's mind, he's like, well, I mean, maybe she's a grandmother of a kid who's also going to this party, who also happens not to be the Karen that we met in the park. Maybe. So yeah, at this point, Andrew's he pulls into the driveway of the kid who's having the birthday party, and he watches as the Karen mobile, that's what we're going to call it right now, the Karen mobile slows down. And Andrew's like, if she pulls in, I'm actually going to have a problem, right? And if it is the Karen, we're going to have a problem. But the Karen mobile slows down as it passes the house and then speeds back up and goes by. And Andrew's like, well, that must have just been a really strange coincidence, because I could have sworn that was the Karen, right? And Andrew goes in with his little brother to drop him off or not drop him off, but to be there as well, to bring him into the birthday party, thinking that was just a really strange coincidence and that definitely wasn't the Karen. Let me just say that Andrew was mistaken. The Karen was stalking him all the way to the birthday party. And you might be thinking, well, the Karen must be done. No, she's about to enact her revenge. The Karen is about to strike. Empire Strikes Back, but replace Empire with Karen. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment Karen down below. I just like to see how many people made this far into the video. And if you want to support the channel, literally the best thing you can do that helps me out even more than you can ever imagine is just at some point today, maybe after this video or later, while you're doing something like drawing or watching a television show or playing a video game or trying to go to sleep, if you can binge watch my old videos, you can watch them, just watch them normally, get one of my playlists. If you watch a bunch of my old videos, it helps me out so much. Let me know in the comment section if you are doing that or are planning on doing it or have done it so I can reply and say thank you and heart it. Just so you know, it helps me out more than you can ever imagine. Anyways, let's get back to the Karen's revenge because it's about to get pretty crazy right now. So anyways, Andrew brings his little brother in, and his little brother's at the birthday party, and it's like Star Wars theme. So, dude, I freaking love Star Wars, but they have like sword fights, and they have like stormtrooper helmets, and you know, this kid really liked Captain Rex, so we got a whole Captain Rex Halloween outfit with the helmet and everything. Like, it was super sick. Yeah, but anyways, Andrew hears a car pull up, and he doesn't think much of it. He's like, oh, it's like 30 minutes after the party has started. Like, maybe some kid is just coming late. Like, that happens all the time. And this party happened in the backyard, and there was a fence. So basically, you pulled up and you walked in through the backyard fence, walked into the backyard where the party was happening. In the backyard fence, right, you know, the backyard fence opens. And guess who walks in? It is the Karen. And Andrew is basically in the middle of a massive stare-off with the Karen. Because he's thinking to himself, there is no way, bro. Ain't no way, bro. Like, there is not a shot that that is actually the Karen. My eyes must be deceiving me, because I know for a fact that that is not the frickin' Karen, bro. Not a chance that is the Karen. But yeah, the Karen walks in, and like some of the other parents there kind of look over. They're like, is that one of these kids' grandmothers or something? Like, what is going on? Like, we don't know who that is. And the mom of the birthday boy, who's the friend of Andrew's little brother, walks up and says, hey there, like, are you related to anyone at the party? And the Karen is like, I am not, says it very proudly. And I don't know why you'd say that so proudly, like you're being mad bold right now. And she says, this party is violating the rules of the city. You must have a permit to throw something like this. Which totally isn't true. Maybe there's some weird, very specific law I don't know about, but bro, are you really calling the cops on a kid's Star Wars birthday party that's happening at 3 in the afternoon? Like, you cannot be serious, dude. Yeah, but anyways, the birthday boy's mother is like, nope, I think this is totally okay, ma'am. Like, thank you for voicing your concerns. If you want us to keep it down a little bit, I'll relay the message, but yeah. She basically says, no, take this L, default dance, right? And the Karen is like, no, no, no. Don't you think for a second that you hooligans are going to get away with this. Like, this is illegal. And, like, then she points to Andrew and is like, and this one is very disrespectful, too. I'm going to call the police on you for breaking the law and being disrespectful to elders, and points at Andrew. And Andrew's like, ma'am, I don't think that's a crime. I wasn't being disrespectful. Even if I was, though, definitely not a crime, ma'am. Don't know how else to say it, but it's not illegal to be disrespectful. And she's like, well, see about that. So the Karen takes out her phone and walks outside. So Andrew goes up to the birthday boy's mom and is like, I'm so sorry. And the birthday boy's mom is like, why are you sorry? Like, this isn't like, are you related to her? And he's like, no, this woman's like crazy, dude. Like, I was in the park with, you know, my little brother. She comes up to us and says, hey, you need to get out of here because this is her private park. Turns out it was like not, because it's a public park. I've been going there for like 10 years. And then she came back and said, I'm going to get revenge on you. I think she followed me to the party. So this is all kind of my fault. I'm sorry. And obviously the birthday boy's mom is like, dude, like, this, like, she isn't you. Like, you're not controlling her with, like, a little, like, I don't know, remote control or something. Like, this is a random woman who followed you. This is not your fault. But, yeah, I wonder if she's actually going to call the cops. 20 minutes later, a police officer pulls up. And he walks in, and some of the kids, like, turn around and are like, oh, my God, what? Because, like, a police officer actually comes in. And he walks in, and the Karen runs up and is like, thank you, officer. Thank you, officer. Thank you for coming. Oh my God, it's been terrible. It's been terrible. And the police officer's like, I got a call of a illegal function happening here that's very destructive and causing lots of damage. I've been told on the phone. The police officer takes off his sunglasses and he just like surveys what's in front of him. It's a bunch of little kids with a Star Wars piñata and little flashy lightsabers and Star Wars action figures and a Lego Death Star and a bunch of parents and cake. And at that point, right, the police officer's like, turns to Karen and is like, am I at the right place, ma'am? And she's like, yes, this is the illegal function. Shut it down right now. And also, just so you know, if you want to arrest him, and points to Andrew, you may arrest him too for being disrespectful to his elders. Police officer's like, ma'am, that's not a thing. Second of all, and he kind of like turns to Karen. He's like, ma'am, did you really just call the police on a kid's birthday party at 3 p.m? And the Karen's face turns and she's like, but this is a legal function. You must shut it down immediately or I'm calling your manager. He's like, okay. Yeah, ma'am, I'm not shutting this down. Like, please don't waste our time. We actually have real things to deal with. And he gets in his police car and he leaves. And the Karen is standing there and she's like literally starting to shake because she is so angry and she is mauling so hard. She is so angry right now. And, the birthday boy's mom goes up to her and is like, ma'am, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that, like, you're not really welcome here. And she's like, you. And then points at Andrew, and you too. And then points to all the kids, and you. And all the kids are like, bro, what? I'm just here for the Star Wars, bro. And she's like, you think that you can get rid of me. You think that I won't know that you paid off that police officer. And Andrew's like, bro, what? What the fuck, bro? What? Huh? And she's like, and you think that, like, you can get away with this? No, I will be back. And she just, like, storms out of there. And they're all kind of just looking at her. And then they're all looking at each other. And Andrew's like, turns, like, goes to the mom of the birthday boy. And he's like, look, we should actually be prepared for her to come back and do something crazy. I mean, she was crazy enough to follow me here and then call the cops on us just because I didn't leave the park when she asked me to or demanded me to. So she's definitely capable of being pretty crazy. So guys, just be careful. And at this point, right, the birthday boy's mom's like, okay, you know what? I don't even care. I just want my son to have a good birthday. Like, we're just going to keep going. If she comes back and wants trouble, she'll get trouble. And Andrew's like, all right, I'm all for that. I mean, that's cool with me, dude. So you guys might be thinking, okay, what can this Karen actually do right now? Like, how bad can she actually be? And let me just say that set your expectations to the moon because she's about to do something crazy. So anyways, the party is almost wrapping up. It's like 4 o'clock. It started at 2. It's been going hard for like 2 hours. And at this point, like, honestly, Andrew's going to leave in like 10 minutes. But that's when the Karen comes back. And she comes back and she has with her this, like, those carts that are on wheels. I think I'm being stupid not remembering the name. But she's carrying like this cart behind her. And it's full of water balloons. However, inside the water balloons is not water. That would have been bad enough. This is really messed up. But inside the water balloons are paint and piss. Dude, I don't know how she got this done so quickly. Like, she literally came back 45 minutes later with a ton of water balloons full of paint and piss. I low-key think that she's been, like, saving this for a while. Like, I legitimately believe that she's been saving the paint and piss balloons for, like, a second now, which is really messed up. However, it is what she did. So she came back with a cart full of water balloons full of paint and piss, right? I'm just going to call it pee just so YouTube doesn't get mad at me. Because I don't know, they get mad at everything. And she comes back and she's like, the police, she starts yelling. She's like, you guys paid off the police officers? And everyone turns to look at her. So I'm taking the law into my own hands. And she takes one of the paint-filled water balloons and literally chucks it into the crowd of kids. Like, what the fuck, bro? What is this violence, dude? Throws the water balloon full of paint. It explodes everywhere. Kids start, like, screaming. The adults are like, what is going on here? Everyone's running as she throws another pea-filled water balloon boom, hits one of the parents, explodes full of urine all over them. They're like, oh my God, you're a disgusting old woman. Throws another one full of paint, boom. I'm having too much fun with this, man. This story's awful. I'm having too much fun with it. Anyways, she's just like chucking the paint and pee balloons everywhere. They're exploding. Urine and pee or urine and paint are just everywhere. Not exactly how I would want to end my 8-year-old's what's it called, Star Wars themed birthday party, because I don't totally remember the Star Wars episode where, you know, Darth Vader comes in with a pee balloon and throws it at Anakin Skywalker and is like, wait a minute, Luke Skywalker, and is like, Luke, I am your father. Now take this pee, bro. And this like explodes all over his face. I don't remember that. Maybe that's part of the George Lucas director cut. I didn't see that one yet, though. But anyways, at this point, you know, Andrew's like, enough is enough. He pulls out his phone, calls 911, basically says, this old woman who's been harassing us is now throwing pee and paint-filled balloons at a bunch of kids. And immediately the cops are like, what the freak, bro? So they come over, right? After about like 2 or 3 minutes, like I think the cops were just in the neighborhood or whatever, and they stop in and they're like, what's going on over here? And the woman, like the Karen, is like laughing. She's like, throwing her like pee and paint balloons. Everyone's screaming, bunch of kids are crying or whatever. It is like the most insane thing ever. Typical day in the life of a Karen, but the most insane thing ever. And the cops are like, what are you doing over here? And the Karen looks at them, and the Karen literally takes a pee-filled balloon and chucks it at one of the police officers, hits him square in the face, and the other one's like, freeze! And like starts moving towards the Karen. So the Karen is like, uh-oh, at this point. She like knocks over her crate full of like pee or like paint balloons or whatever. They bounce everywhere. Police officer steps on one and slips in it. So he falls for a second. And the Karen runs inside the house and locks the door. So at this point, right, the officers are like, is everyone okay? And, like, there's a bunch of crying kids or whatever. And the mom of the birthday boy comes over and says, yes, like, this crazy woman, like, called the cops on us. And, you know, cops didn't do anything because we're just having a legal, lawful birthday party. So she came back to enact the law herself, in her own quotes, and has been throwing balloons full of unidentified urine and random paint at us. Like, this is ridiculous. And she also just ran into our house. I don't know who she is. Like, I'm scared. Cops are like, all right, we're calling him back up. So they literally call him back up for a Karen. They probably called in like a 1428, which is code for crazy Karen alert. Okay, probably not actually, but maybe at this point they have a Karen, like a term for like Karens at this point. But anyways, you know, so the Karen is like inside the house and has locked the door. And, at this point, Andrew turns to the birthday boy's mom and is like, is there any way to get inside there? Like, do you have a key or something? And she's like, actually, yeah, like, there's a key behind behind the house. So anyways, they go behind the house and they find, like, a rock. Because, like, you can get, like, fake rocks or fake plants you can hide secret keys in. So they go behind there. The birthday boy's mom finds where the secret key is, takes it out. It is like, okay, well, she's not going to let us in unless you distract her. So at this point, Andrew's like, dude, I got it. So anyways, Andrew goes up to one of the windows, starts banging on it, and the Karen gets distracted, walks over, and starts screaming at him like, why would you call the cops on your elders? That is so disrespectful. Like, I was literally just enacting the law. I was doing what was right by throwing balloons at you guys. And Andrew's like, dude, you just came to a kid's birthday party, and you threw like balloons full of pee and paint at them. Like, you're insane. Like, you need to be locked up, dude. And at this point, Andrew's really just stalling because while this is happening, while he's having the conversation with the Karen, the mom is over at the little kid's birthday boy, whatever mom, is at the front door, put the key in, and is like starting to unlock the door. And the Karen's like, you know what? You're so disrespectful. Back in my day, like, kids like you would just, like, listen to their elders. Honestly, the world was such a better place back then when kids would just be, they'd be obedient. They would do what needs to be said. And they respected the rules of the private park. They respected the rules of no birthday parties after 12 in the morning. Also keeping, like, this birthday party is ridiculous. You guys are worshiping space monsters. And Andrew's like, bro, it's a freaking Star Wars party. It's not that deep. And she's about to go on another back in my day rampage when she's like, back in my day. And at that point, the door opens up. The police officers go in. They're like, ma'am, I need you to freeze. However, there are 2 doors leading to the back. There's like a main door and then a side door by the kitchen. So she runs out the side door. And at this point, the Karen is like running, well, quote unquote running, towards the street because she's trying to get away. And that's when Andrew steps in her way. But the Karen was not going down without a fight. Because remember at the beginning when I was like, did the little skit, I was like, imagine if a Karen is like mad at you and then freaking slide tackles you like she's on the Giants. Yeah, the Karen literally bodies Andrew. And Andrew's like a decently sized kid. He's not a big kid. He's not like a super frail kid. Like, bro played, I don't know, he wasn't like a track star, so he wasn't super skinny, but he also wasn't super big like a football player. He was like, I don't know, he was a baseball player, like about in between. But he just gets slammed by this like 200-pound woman. Boom! He flies on the ground, right? And she's on the ground too, and she's like, you should have gotten out of my way. Like, you were in my way. You're disrespecting your elders. And at this point, right, the police officers come, and they're like, ma'am, like they go behind her, they get her up, and they put her in handcuffs. And she's like, officers, this is a perfect time for you to arrest this guy. And they're just like, huh? Like, what? And the Karen's like, yeah, this guy over here, and kind of like nods towards Andrew. And they're like, why would we arrest him? Because earlier today, he was at my private park and he refused to leave. And after that, he came back and started this terrible party, which is against the law. And they're like, ma'am, he was at a public park, because like the police officers were there when Andrew explained it to like them or whatever. He was at a public park, then you followed him here, and then you called the cops on a kid's Star Wars themed birthday party at 2 p.m. And then when the cops didn't do anything rightfully, you came back and attacked them all with pee-filled and paint-filled balloons. And when the officers were like, ma'am, how did you get pee-filled and paint-filled balloons so quickly? And the Karen was like, you know, you guys are not enacting the law like you used to. You guys used to, like, enact the respecting elders law. You used to do what you're supposed to do. I'm just taking the law into my own hands. And they're like, ma'am, like, can we at least ask where you got the pee-filled balloons? And she's like, you know what? I've been building my artillery over the last 6 months. And at this point, Andrew's like, oh my God. So you're saying I could have just gotten hit with a 6-month-old pee balloon? I think I'm going to puke, bro. Yeah, so at that point, they take the Karen away, and she's like, kind of yelling or whatever. And yeah, so the mom like says to the police officers, like, hey, can we also like make sure we get a restraining order in here so she's not allowed to come back? And they're like, yeah. He's like, would you like to press charges? And the mom's like, yes. You're like, yeah, I would. Okay. And yeah, so they, at this point, Andrew kind of stays to help clean up and just, like, stays for literally 2 hours. And by the time he leaves, because it's getting dark and he has to bring his little brother back home, they were literally not even close to being done cleaning it up. Because imagine, like, paint everywhere. Old woman, 6-month-old urine is just stained everything. And everything's, like, broken and destroyed. However, though, like, somehow... somehow, like, it legit, like, the presents did not get destroyed. This little kid's presents did not get a speck of paint or pee on them. Like, dude,
click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.